Mike Tyson is almost 60 years old, and if you think his story ended with his downfall, you're completely wrong. While most people remember Iron Mike for his controversies and spectacular fall from grace, what happened next is one of the most remarkable comeback stories in modern history. This isn't just about a boxer who lost everything. This is about a man who turned his darkest moments into his greatest triumphs. Most celebrities who face the kind of scandals Tyson endured never recover. They fade into obscurity, become cautionary tales, or spend their remaining years trying to explain their past. But Tyson did something different. He transformed himself from a figure of public shame into a symbol of redemption, proving that even the most broken person can rebuild their life in ways nobody thought possible. To understand how incredible this transformation really is, we need to look at where it all began. Michael Gerard Tyson was born in Brownsville, Brooklyn, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in New York. His father abandoned the family when Mike was just 2 years old, leaving his mother Lorna to raise three children in poverty. As a small, shy kid with a lisp and high-pitched voice, Tyson became an easy target for bullies. But instead of staying a victim, he learned to fight back on the streets. By age 11, he was running with a gang called the Jolly Stompers. By 13, he had been arrested more than 30 times for mugging and robbery. His life was heading straight toward prison or worse until he ended up at the Tryon School for Boys, a juvenile detention center that would change everything. There, a counselor named Bobby Stewart saw something special in the angry young fighter and introduced him to Cus D'Amato, a legendary boxing trainer who would become the father figure Tyson never had. D'Amato took custody of 14-year-old Tyson and molded him into a fighting machine. Under his guidance, Tyson developed the famous peekaboo style that made him unstoppable. This defensive technique involved keeping his gloves near his temples, elbows tucked close, with constant head movement that let him slip punches while getting close enough to unleash devastating combinations. His compact, powerful build was perfect for this aggressive style. The results were nothing short of spectacular. After winning back-to-back Junior Olympics gold medals, Tyson turned professional at 18. He won his first fight with a first-round knockout and kept winning with frightening consistency. In his first year as a pro, he had 15 fights and won 26 of his first 28 bouts by knockout, 16 in the first round alone. On November 22, 1986, at just 20 years old, he knocked out Trevor Berbick to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history, a record that still stands today. But here's where you need to hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments what you think was the turning point in Tyson's life, because what happened next shows how quickly success can crumble when you lose the right guidance. The death of Cus D'Amato in November 1985, early in Tyson's professional career, was the beginning of the end for Iron Mike's dominance. D'Amato wasn't just his trainer, he was Tyson's moral compass and the only person who truly understood how to handle the young champion's explosive personality. Without that guidance, Tyson was left to navigate fame, wealth, and his own demons completely alone. The cracks started showing in his personal life first. His marriage to actress Robin Givens in 1988 became a public disaster. In a joint interview with Barbara Walters, Givens described her life with Tyson as torture, pure hell, worse than anything she could imagine. This was unprecedented at the time. A celebrity wife publicly accusing her husband of domestic violence on national television was shocking, and the public response was brutal. Givens was branded the most hated woman in America and called a gold digger. The fact that this happened decades before modern conversations about domestic violence made it even harder for people to believe her story. Then came the moment that shattered Tyson's aura of invincibility. On February 11, 1990 in Tokyo, facing James Buster Douglas, a fighter with 42-1 odds against him, the impossible happened. Douglas wasn't afraid of Iron Mike. He used his jab and footwork to keep Tyson at distance, preventing him from getting inside where his power was most dangerous. Tyson's corner was completely unprepared for a long fight. They didn't even have basic supplies like ice packs to deal with the swelling around his eye. In the 10th round, Douglas landed a devastating four-punch combination that knocked Tyson down for the first time in his professional career. As a disoriented Tyson fumbled for his mouthpiece, the referee counted him out, creating one of the biggest upsets in sports history. But losing his title was just the beginning of Tyson's problems. In July 1991, he was accused of raping Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America contestant, in his Indianapolis hotel room. Despite maintaining his innocence and claiming the encounter was consensual, a jury found him guilty of rape and criminal deviant conduct. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison with 4 suspended, ultimately serving 3 years before his release in 1995. When he returned to boxing, Tyson briefly recaptured the heavyweight title in 1996. But then came the incident that would define his public image for years. On June 28, 1997, in a rematch against Evander Holyfield, a frustrated Tyson bit off a piece of his opponent's ear during a clinch. After a warning, he bit the other ear, leading to immediate disqualification, a $3 million fine, and a 1-year suspension. This wasn't just poor sportsmanship. It was a complete breakdown of the discipline that had once made him great. The financial collapse that followed was equally devastating. Despite earning between $300 and $400 million during his career, Tyson filed for bankruptcy in 2003, claiming $34 million in debt. His spending was legendary and destructive. He bought Bentleys on impulse, owned a 52-room mansion in Ohio with a gold-plated jacuzzi, and spent over $70,000 on 2 pet Bengal tigers, whose maintenance alone cost $200,000 per year. He also battled substance abuse, later admitting in a 2013 interview that he was a vicious alcoholic who had been lying about his sobriety. Most people would have given up. Most careers would have been over. But this is where Tyson's story takes an incredible turn. Instead of disappearing or continuing down a destructive path, he began one of the most improbable reinventions in entertainment history. The comeback started with strategic media appearances that showed a different side of Iron Mike. His cameo in the 2009 comedy The Hangover was a turning point. By playing a self-aware version of his public persona, Tyson introduced himself to a younger audience that was less familiar with his controversial past and more open to his comedic side. This was followed by his deeply personal one-man Broadway show, Undisputed Truth, later adapted into an HBO special directed by Spike Lee. The show gave him a platform to publicly reflect on his mistakes, confront his demons, and express genuine remorse for his actions. But the real genius of Tyson's comeback was turning his authenticity into profit. In 2021, he launched Tyson 2.0, a cannabis brand that operates on an asset-light licensing model. Instead of growing and manufacturing products himself, he partners with franchisees who handle production while using his brand. By 2023, the company generated an estimated $150 million in revenue, with most of that coming from accessories and related products rather than just cannabis. The success of Tyson 2.0 isn't just smart business, it's directly connected to his personal story. His openness about past struggles with addiction and his statements about finding solace in cannabis make his brand resonate with consumers in ways most celebrity endorsements never could. He's not just a spokesman, he embodies the brand's message of personal growth and healing. The perfect example of this self-aware approach is the Mike Bites cannabis edibles, shaped like Evander Holyfield's ear and created in collaboration with his former opponent. Think about that for a moment. Tyson took his most shameful public moment, the act that made him a global laughingstock, and turned it into a profitable product that people love. That's not just business savvy, that's emotional intelligence and the kind of self-acceptance that most people never achieve. Today, Tyson maintains his relevance through his popular podcast, Hot Boxin' with Mike Tyson, where he interviews athletes and celebrities. His high-profile exhibition fights, like his 2020 bout against Roy Jones Jr. and his recent match against Jake Paul, continue generating massive audiences and significant income. The fact that he can still draw huge crowds despite his age and long retirement proves his enduring global appeal. What makes Tyson's story so remarkable is that he hasn't been canceled. In an era where public figures face immediate and often permanent consequences for their actions, Tyson has somehow achieved something different. His controversial past occurred before social media and modern cancel culture, giving him time to demonstrate genuine personal growth. He used documentaries, his stage show, and his podcast to present a more thoughtful, vulnerable version of himself, allowing the public to evolve with him rather than judge him instantly. Mike Tyson's journey from street fighter to champion to convicted felon to cultural icon proves that redemption is possible, even for those who seem beyond saving. His ultimate legacy isn't found in his championship belts or business success, but in his very public struggle to define himself on his own terms. He rejected the external validation that once nearly destroyed him and found peace by confronting his past rather than running from it. If this story of transformation inspired you, smash that like button, subscribe for more incredible comeback stories, and let me know in the comments which part of Tyson's journey surprised you the most. Sometimes the greatest victories happen outside the ring,